I spend a lot of time in nature, and most of the time when I'm out there walking in the wilderness, I'm not really listening to music. It happens, but most of the time I'm just listening to the sounds of the forest, basically, of the sounds of nature, and it is that serenity, that calm, and that peace that I enjoy so much. But from time to time, yeah, I do listen to music, and it was just on one of those trips. I'm thinking to myself, it's just remarkable how all my other senses outside my hearing, that how they are affected by the music that I'm listening to. So I'm walking around there with the same set of AirPods as I'm using now, and I'm thinking to myself that I'm looking at things that I otherwise wouldn't focus on, and I'm noticing certain smells from nature that I didn't even think about. But the music is what draws me to that, and that made me think a lot about how music does that to you. And I would even start to experiment with listening to things that I know is just not going to work out in Norwegian nature. And I felt so strongly, yeah, this does not work at all out here. And that's really the starting point of me thinking about how I could write music that could amplify things that already lies within the work of Munch, but also things that you otherwise wouldn't have noticed when looking at these Munch paintings and lithographies if it wasn't for the music. And then I thought, and maybe the other way around, maybe vice versa, that there are things in those paintings that could help, could make you aware of certain details in the music that you otherwise wouldn't think too much about because of what you're looking at. And I don't know why, and I still haven't figured out that why I didn't think about art in general. I thought of Munch. There was never a question of like, I should do something with visual arts. It was always, I should do this with Munch. It's pretty optimistic to come in there as a black metal musician and say, hey, here's an idea for you, and I as expected, it had to go through all kinds of formal stages with a bunch of people that were supposed to have an opinion about this and that. But after all, we're talking about an artist that is considered one of the greatest artists in modern art history. They were very receptive to it, but I think that, if I made them do a lie detector test, I suspect that probably what they were thinking in the beginning is that, maybe it's cool because as a museum, we need to renew ourselves. We need to do different things, and we need to work on like attracting different kinds of crowds to the museum. We can't have the same people all over again. But I think what they didn't expect was Satyricon's ability to deliver something of the standard and quality that we actually contributed with. And I think it also was a bit of a surprise to them that we wanted complete ownership to everything. This was never going to be us saying, oh, here's an idea, and now you just take care of the exhibition and we'll make some music. So, I mean, I've been sitting with the exhibition architects discussing texture in the carpet on the floor. I've been discussing all these acoustic absorbents with them, and which color they should have so that they're not a mismatch with how the room feels. I've been working with the lighting designers, and I've been involved in absolutely every aspect of it. And I think to myself that, I mean, I'll be generous with people, but at the same time, when people ask me, did you take part in selecting paintings for us? What do you think? I mean, someone else just randomly selected something, and I go, oh, cool, that looks great. Yeah, I'll get on with it. I mean, obviously, anything else but, you know, doing this ourselves would be impossible, because the music that I had to write was always going to be an emotional musical response to my perception of these paintings. And they tell me that that they cry, and that is probably the greatest compliment to any artist, that people are so deeply moved by what they experience that they just, yeah, they can't help but cry. I don't know what to say other than, for me, art, in terms of visual arts, music, books, or movies, at the very best, they possess a quality that makes you forget about your boring everyday life, that you don't really think about, oh, I need to answer that email. Like, do we have, oh, we just run out of olive oil, I need to go get more. You're not thinking about anything but that music or that painting or that book or that movie that you're watching. You're just so invested in the moment because it's consuming all of you, you know? And that's art at its very best. So what I thought to myself is that, you know, walk in there and then let it sink in. And when you leave that room, you're back. The bubble will burst. But if I can give you half an hour or 1 hour of something which is greater than everyday life, I've done my job. Well, I mean, you have to approach this on many levels. You know, what's the instrumentation going to be like? What do we need? So, one thing which I like working with is analog synthesizers. I think that you know, for someone like me, the guitar is the main songwriting tool. But I like how analog synthesizers are, at the best they are like guitars, they're very receptive to the musician's input. And I felt that with all the layers that you can create when you create a patch on an analog synthesizer, it's given that we need a lot of that. Also, when you're doing something completely new, it is important that you keep in mind that as much as you want to do new things, there's a reason why you've been put in a position where you get to do something like this. And obviously my main experience comes from making music on the electric guitar. You know, that's what I've been doing my whole life. So I also had to have this awareness, as much as I want to do all kinds of stuff, which I think I need to take the music where I need to take it. I also need to rely on my experience. And so, yeah, it was pretty given that the guitar was going to be a significant part of this, but it wasn't necessarily given that I was going to sing on it, and I ended up not having any vocals. And the engineer kept saying towards the end of the process that, how about, you know, trying some vocals? And I said, well, you know, if I'm going to try vocals, it's because I think that something needs vocals. Like, I have an idea, let's do it. I can't just sing for the sake of singing. Also, things like cello is something that we've used before, but more in a complementary fashion. And on this part, I thought to myself that Okay. I think cello is going to be important. I think cello has the sound and the depth and the ability to create those layers that I'm looking for. So yeah, I mean, we have percussion, we have the electric guitar, baritone guitar, bass, a bunch of analog synthesizer, including modular synthesizers. We have theremin, we have grand piano, cello, viola. We have some Nordic folk music instruments, and probably a lot that I can't remember right now. So for the recording, we use, I had the ESP Mystique custom. I had the ESP KHDC custom. And I had a 6-string LTD baritone. And I think I had a lot more than that, but those were my main guitars. I have to say that when I choose guitars, it's really about the way the guitar inspires my writing. And then in certain cases, there's going to be, so I love the mid-range of the ESP Mystique. So when I want a part where I need, the mid-range to penetrate a wall of other sounds, maybe that's my guitar. Certain parts where, you feel that, all right, we have enough distorted guitar sounds on this part where we don't really have the depth of tone that I'm looking for. So, you bring out the baritone, so you can get, just more fat and juice into the single note stuff that you're doing. I had this conversation maybe, that was 19 years ago. I had this conversation with Kirk Hammett when they were playing, when Metallica was playing in Oslo. I said, I got to give it to you, man. Your signature guitars, they're just very, very good. And he said, oh, thank you. And I said, no, but seriously, when it comes to product development, the stuff that you've done with the guys at ESP is fantastic. I had one of his 90s signature US custom something at the time, and I still have it, and I also still use it. And he's just very good at working with you guys when it comes to developing guitars that they just work really well with how I like a guitar to feel and sound. And they've also been very good to me in terms of consistency. Sometimes you have great guitars, but they just don't hold up the way you want it to over time. But his guitar does. So I suppose sometimes as a guitar manufacturer, you don't want one artist to play another artist's signature guitar, but I will never stop. I'll never stop playing Kirk's signature guitars because they're just very good. One of the things that I am incredibly proud of as a musician, it is the quality of the work of all the people that I work with, whether it's, the skills of some of our live crew, some of the recording engineers that I work with, the guest musicians that I have worked with throughout my life, the graphic designers, the concert photographers. There are so many skilled people in the music industry, and it is also important for me to show those people who come walking in the door with a fine art angle that we're not a bunch of entertainers. We're craftsmen. That's what we are. And I have a long relationship with the ESP, and I have many ESP custom shop guitars. and I have the utmost respect for the quality of the work of these guys. And since these are my tools, what I use for writing and recording music, I know how inspiring it is and what the difference is between a good guitar and an outstanding guitar. An outstanding guitar wants me to make music. A good guitar is good for rehearsals and whatnot, but it's not something that, oh, you know, let's write. But an amazing guitar wants me to write. So I also wanted to show all the people coming here with a fine art angle that it's not just about the music and our ability to make music and the work that we've done with every aspect of the exhibition, but it's also like that whole support team that makes Satyricon better. And ESP Guitars is one of those supporters of the craft of Satyricon. So I thought that it was a great opportunity for me to also show the world the quality of the craftsmanship that goes into music, which is not just about making music, but it's the instruments that we play. I knew that when I asked you if you could make me the mother of all custom guitars, and if we did, I don't know, but it's certainly an absolutely astonishing guitar, and I know that you have made many like that, but this is my favorite anyway. So the exhibition Satyricon and Munch runs until August 28th in Oslo, Norway, at the Munch Museum, which you can see right behind me. The music from the exhibition is out on all streaming platforms worldwide as we speak. As much as I would want everyone to experience the music and the art together, we feel that the emotional impact of the music on its own is more than strong enough to live its own life, and that's why we have decided to release it as an album. It's out there on all streaming platforms, and the exhibition runs until August 28th at the Munch Museum in Oslo, Norway. So I really encourage everyone to witness it, because the sad thing is that August 29th, it doesn't exist anymore. Then it's history.